Okay, so we talked about that too. We talked about different types of. Is that right? Then I think this is where we stop, isn't it? The 4 classes of Cnidarians. Yeah, and I talked about this. I said, oh, we'll talk about it when this starts right here.
Right.
Okay, right. So we talked about the Cnidarians. Cnidarians are the animals that they must have a cnidocyte, the cell cnidocyte that has filament. I will talk about it here in a minute. That has nematocyst. The nematocyst is a string-like thing that they inject other animals. They move with it. We will talk about different types of nematocysts. The 4 classes of Hydrozoa, the 4 classes of Cnidarian is Hydrozoa, Scyphozoa, Cubozoa, and Anthozoa. So those are the 4 classes of Cnidarians. And then some Cnidarians are freshwater, and I gave you 2 species that they are freshwater medusa. They possibly do not have, I cannot recollect from my memory, they do not have a polyp stage. You will see. A lot of Cnidarians, they have a polyp stage and a medusa stage. You will see it right behind them. But not all of them are like that. We'll talk about it. Hopefully by the end of the lecture that becomes clear. These are 2 species that I'm giving you that they are medusa stage in freshwater Cnidarians. The rest of Cnidarians are saltwater, marine, if you would, marine animals. Main characteristics of Cnidarians, okay, polyp stage or a hydroid are they are sedentary animals, just like this. This is hydra, freshwater hydra that is found in lakes. Okay, so this is found in lakes and in freshwater, and it does not have a medusa stage. It's just a polyp stage. That's what the animal hydra is. And then oral. So this is since the mouth of the animal is right here, they call these this end is the oral end. Oral, it means the mouth. Okay, so that's the oral end. Then where is the aboral end? Right here. That would be the aboral end or a foot. Some textbooks they might call it foot. Aboral oral end. They're tubular, like a tube. Do not pay attention to this yet. I will talk about it. And then some form colonies. This is not a colony. Okay, some colonies that you will see in the lab is Portuguese man-of-war that we do have actually in the lab. Medusa stage are bell-shaped. Right here is a medusa stage. They're bell-shaped. I bought this from Monterey Aquarium. And then bell-shaped, umbrella-shaped, yes. Mouth in the center, so the mouth of the animal would be here. Remember, the mouth and anus of these animals in the same place. So mouth of hydra is here. Also, anus is here as well. Okay, and then I will talk about this area is called gastrovascular cavity. Somebody was asking me in the lab in the morning, what is gastrovascular cavity? That's it. So they have a huge gastrovascular cavity, and we'll talk about it. So here is the mouth, and also here is the anus, right here. Okay, bell-shaped, mouth in the center, mesoglial layer is thicker compared to the other guys. These guys, if you look, the green line up here is the epidermis, and the creamish color is the gastrodermis, if you would. And then the red in between is the mesoglial layer. Okay, and you saw mesoglea as well in the same terminology in sponges. Okay, same terminology in sponges as well. You saw that mesoglea, mesenchyme, and all of that. Here I cannot show it to you, but you see it in the picture that the mesoglial layer in these guys in the medusa stage is thicker. Okay, I hope I'm making some sense. Let's go cnidocytes. Is that right? All of these animals must have cnidocytes. So in this model, they are showing you that like these in the tentacles. These are tentacles, right? And in the tentacles, those darker region, that's where you have cnidocytes. Okay, cnidocytes contain nematocyst or operculum. I'll show you a picture here in a minute. The 3 types of nematocyst. Penetrants, it means they penetrate another animal or predator, they defend themselves, and then of course it injects poison and involvement, entangle, it wraps around prey, and glutenin, it has adhesive substances for locomotion. So this model that I have here of the Hydra, so everybody can see this, I hope. So the model here, I'm going to remove some of the lab or quiz exams. So right here, this whole entire cell, if you look at this entire cell, that is a cnidocyte. Okay? Then inside of the cnidocyte, that red is nematocyst. Right here, that's a nematocyst. And they call this filament right here. This is the filament of the nematocyst. And then operculum is the flap for the rest of semester. Anytime you see the term operculum, operculum, it means a flap. Okay? So operculum is on top right here, and this is a cnidoblast, which it gets stimulated and then opens up. The operculum moves back, and the filament comes. The filament, this is called filament, the whole thing is called nematocyst. So you have a nematocyst here, and nematocyst here, and nematocyst here. In the lab, we do have spot of nematocyst, not the cnidocytes. Okay, so nematocyst is inside of the cnidocytes. And of course, the cnidocytes are scattered throughout the animal. They're scattered throughout the animal on all of them. Well, you have a lot of them concentrated in tentacles that you have. And then, again, these are the different type of, 3 types of nematocysts I mentioned. The nematocyst, this here, what is inside of the cell. There are 3 different types. And then I mentioned some of them are penetrants. They penetrate to the prey or defend themselves. That's what we human get injected with penetrants. And evolvents for entangle, they wrap around a fish and they pull it toward the mouth. Okay. And then glutenants, they have some nematocysts on the bottom. So what happens with Hydra, they can detach from bottom of lake and swim a little bit and attach to another place on the bottom of the lake. And that's what they call the glutenate. They move for locomotion purposes by attachment. Okay. Nerve net, of course, neurotransmitters, no myelin, and neuromuscular system, and I will show you some pictures and we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, here they are. That's the whole entire thing. You saw it. I showed it to you guys. This is the medusa stage. This is the polyp stage, and the gastrovascular cavity, if you would, is a little bit again, a gastrodermis in these animals is a little bit thicker. Gastrovascular, sorry, I'm getting confused now. Gastrovascular cavity in the medusa stage is bigger, thicker, but the gastrodermis should be almost the same. Okay, I talked about all of this. The tentacles right here, tentacles, mouth here. There is no anus. Anus is right here. Mesoglial layer, we talked about that. Right here is very thin, right here is thick. Gastrovascular cavity is the whole entire thing right here. That cavity right here is called gastrovascular cavity. And that's what originally the name of the phylum was, because of Solenterata. They call it coelom, comes from the term coelom, but they changed it to Cnidarians now. Okay. What is this? Okay, same thing, I talked about it. Right here is the operculum. It's a flap. Right here, the operculum is closed. Right here, but here, operculum is open. And they have a cnidocyl. Cnidocyl is sense the environment. They're sensitive. When they are stimulated, cnidocyls are stimulated, then operculum moves, and then the filament shoots out. In case they want to move, in case they want to entangle a prey, in case they want to inject a prey, that's all they are. And they're scattered throughout the epidermis of the animal. Underneath, these cells are called nutritive cells. The gastrodermis layer, right here is a gastrodermis layer. So you do have a cross-section of the animal, if you would, and we do have spot of cross-section of the animal in the lab. So this would be gastrodermis right here, and this is epidermis. The blue is epidermis, and right here is the gastrodermis. And what they've done, they just cut a chunk of this, and they're enlarging it, showing it to you guys what these are, nutritive cells. I'm not too concerned with nutritive cells, and do not worry about it. But you should know underneath of the sensory cells, the nerve cells, underneath of them, there are muscle fibers. There is no actually muscle cells like us. We have muscle cells. They do not. They have fibers that are muscle fibers that are attached at the bottom at the bottom of the epithelial cells, and then that's what they call them, epithelial muscular cells. No, they didn't mention it in here. I said it somewhere along the line. And then, of course, the neurons, as I mentioned it before, they stimulate these muscle cells and they contract so they can move a little bit. They're not Speedy Gonzales, but they can move a little bit. Interstitial cells, they are, it would be same as stem cells, if you would. They differentiate to other cells in the animal. So that's called interstitial cells right here. Epidermis, mesoglia, gastrodermis, and gastrovascular cavity, and cnidocytes on discharge, and so on and so forth. Okay, interstitial cells, I said it on the top, wow. Okay, undifferentiated stem cells that can be developing into cnidoblasts, sex cells, buds or nerve cells, but not epithelial muscular cells. So these are the interstitial cells. As I said, they are stem cells. In these animals, they can develop the other cells. Gland cells, they secrete the adhesive substances and sometimes a gas bubble for fluid. Class Hydrozoa, the first class. So those are pretty much the general characteristics. Let's talk about the first class. In this class, we have in the lab slide of Obelia. We have slide and model of Hydra, right here model, and slide of microscopic slide of Hydra with budding. So I will talk about it. They multiply asexually by budding. And Goinemus, we have it in the lab, and Phycelia, Portuguese man of war. We have all 4 of them in the lab. 4 species that they belong to class Hydrozoa. Okay, so right here, some have medusa, polyp, or both. Some of the species, for example, what am I saying? Obelia. So I said some of the species in this class. Obelia has medusa stage. We do have slide of medusa stage in the lab. It has a polyp stage we have in the lab. It has both of them. Hydra has only the polyp stage. It does not have medusa stage. And you will see some other species, I will talk about it, they have only the medusa stage. Okay, colonial, yes, Phycelia is colonial. That's a colony of organisms. The 3 colonies, if I can remember it, one of them was dactylozoite. It means dactylozoite. They are a defense colony, defense the animal, defense colony. And then you have gonozoite, which you will see it here in a minute quickly. Gonozoite, they are a reproductive colony. And then you have gastrozoites. Gastrozoite, which are the feeding colony. So you have all of those 3 colonies in one organism. Mostly marine, but Hydra is freshwater. Most of the species in this class are marine, except Hydra. Velum is a membrane on the sub-umbrella surface of jellyfish of class Hydrozoa, Colonial colony. So what am I saying? If this is a jellyfish, there is a membrane underneath of this. This is called velum. This possibly does not allow the animal to grow. You will see another class that they do not have velum. They do not have velum, so the jellyfish can grow and become huge. Okay, but this class they have velum, and they do not usually. Possibly that's the reason, we don't know.
You mean like the Portuguese man of war doesn't have like a velum, or?
They might have it, yes, they might have velum, but like Hydra, Medusa stage has velum. Okay, Goinemus has velum. Okay, these, you guys, I think I talked about all of this. There's nothing here that I did not mention. The barb, you know, do not worry about barb. Just a chance favors the prepared mind, Louis Pasteur. I don't know, I put that some years ago in there in my notes. I said, if your brain is ready, you will pick up the opportunity. For example, if you're into stock market, you've been doing this for a long time, you know what to pick and what to choose, what to buy, what not to buy. What happened with, I forgot his name, I should tell you the story. What happened, it was 1940s, the person who discovered antibiotic was Franklin. He went to the lab every morning and he looked at the agar plates. He grew agar plates, bacteria in there. In the agar, he grew bacteria. One morning he went to the lab and he saw the bacteria were dead. He said, what happened to this bacteria that I was growing constantly for past 10, 15 years? They were dead because of some fungi. Not fungi, I'm a fungi. Fungi. Because of fungi, the bacteria were contaminated and they were dead. So he came up with antibiotic. His mind, penicillin. So his mind was prepared. When your mind is prepared, you come up. That's what most scientific discoveries were found, based on chance. Not based on what they were looking for, based on chance. Most scientific discoveries were found based on chance. He was not, Frankel was not looking for Franklin.
Was that Pasteur?
No, Louis Pasteur said this, but the antibiotic, it was 1940s. Louis Pasteur was way before. But anyway. So, Hydra, freshwater Hydra, mouth open to gastrovascular cavity, budding, of course. There is no budding in this diagram. They're eating a water flea or a fish. Right here is a budding. And you do the slide we have in the lab. So this Hydra will separate from mother Hydra. This daughter Hydra will separate from mother Hydra and sits on the bottom of the lake right here. And it is genetically exactly like mother Hydra. Okay, this is our asexual reproduction. We call it budding. Okay, we do have slide of it in the lab. So gastrovascular, but the testes and ovaries, yes, they do multiply by budding asexually, but they do have ovaries and testes right here in this model. So they do have ovaries and testes, and so if they have ovaries and testes, do they do sexual reproduction? Yes, they do sexual reproduction too. They do sexual reproduction. And I think in your next quiz, I threw a term at you. I know you're familiar with the term monoecious. I talked about that, right? Monoecious means what? Both sexes are present in one organism. Is that right? Both sexes, right here, right here, both sexes are present in one organism. That's monoecious. And what are we human? We human are what? Monoecious? No, we are not monoecious. We are dioecious. And that's the term I threw at you during the quiz. Not today. Was it today's quiz?
No.
Thursday. So you should be familiar with the term dioecious. Okay, so testes and ovaries, epidermis, gastrodermis, and mesoglia, interstitial cells. I talked about that. They are stem cells. They can differentiate to sex cells and other cells. I talked about holoblastic cleavage to form a holoblastula. I'm not too crazy about these holoblastic anymore. We passed them. Goinemus, the second organism in this class, marine Medusa or Hydrozoan jellyfish, and Medusa is mature. Gonads attached to the radial canal. I should show you radial canal, or the canals right here. They call this radial canal. And then external fertilization, just like most fishes, what happens, this is not a term you had so far, external fertilization, it means male release the sperm, female release the egg, egg and sperm meet each other in the water. That's called external fertilization. A lot of fishes do it that way. Okay, so that's what that is. Let's go. Polyp stage might undergo asexual reproduction by budding or may form a medusa structure. Here's a golden nemus, the structure of it. We have it in the lab. I'm not too crazy about all of these structures. Do not worry about all of these structures. Do not worry about it. Just be able to recognize it in the lab. We have specimen of it in the lab. It's very distinguishable. They're small, very small. Obelia, we do have slide of it in the lab. They're microscopic, small. Colonial marine hydrozoan. And sex stage is a free-swimming medusa. Yes, of course. Medusa similar to Goinemus, but smaller. And here they are, what we have in the lab. A few things I would like you to know on this slide. So you have these gonangium or gonozoid, I called it, same thing. It means reproductive colony. That's what gonangium means, gonangium. And inside of the gonangium, this is gonopore. Pore, it means what?
Hole.
A hole, thank you. Out of this hole, a lot of medusa comes out. So medusa are made in here, and they come out of gonopore from gonangium, singular gonangia, plural. The medusa buds come out and they swim right here. They swim, and then some of them become female, some of them become male, and they release sperm and egg, and of course they fertilize each other. And you have the planular larva right here, ciliated planular larva sits on the bottom of the lake, ocean. I'm sorry about that. And then it grows to a colony. Okay, so the colony, this is the reproductive colony. This would be your hydrant. He calls it hydrant. I call it gastrozoite. Okay, so it's a feeding colony. They have tentacles here. They absorb, they grab food with their nematocysts and bring it to the animal to right here. This layer, if you look at it, is blue. In the lab, it is red. Right here, that's your living layer, which is called cenozoic. Right here, where it percolates food and material percolates right here. It gets to all over the animal. And then outside of it, outside of cenozoic, is perizoic. Perizoic in the lab, you will see it. You should look at it on a microscope. You can distinguish between cenozoic and perizoic. Perizoic is pretty much made up of chitin. It's a non-living material. It's a non-living material. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the lab purposes. Yes, the tentacles, the mouth is right here. Hypostome, another term for mouth. Hydrotheca. Theca, it means what in your prefix suffixes? No. Theca, it means sac. So, there is a sac right here, and there is a sac, gonotheca, the sac outside of SAC. The sac that is outside of the medusa bud is called gonotheca. So gonotheca, gonopore, and medusa, all those three structures make up gonangium, if you want to think of it that way. Okay, so I hope I made some sense. And of course, the male released the sperm, the female released the egg, and so on and so forth. Okay, Phycelia, we do have this, Portuguese man of war, the common name. So from now on, you also should know some common names too. Bath sponge, right? What else? A glass sponge. Those are common names. Venus flower basket, it's a common name. So the common name for Phycelia, which we do have in the lab in a container, in a jar, in those jars, and it is Portuguese man of war. Polymorphism, it means they have many shapes, which is forming in one colony. and look like a single animal, but it's made up of, here we go, I said it finally, but made up of feeding colony, which is gonozoite, reproductive colony, feeding colony, which is gastrozoite, reproductive colony, gonozoite, and defense colony, dactylozoite. So that's pretty much what the physalia is made of. And find in the lab, I'm asking you to find float and crest. So this entire thing is called the float. And you see them if we go to the Monterey, when we go to Monterey Bay Aquarium, sometimes I've seen them there, sometimes you might see them. You see little things floating on the top of water. If you're wondering, and there is a crest, you can see both of them, the crest and the float. So those are the structures I'm hoping you would know for the lab.
What's the
And
crest?
you can see the pump.
Crest?
The crest is that purple shaped thing out here. Right here, you see that line with all of the branches that is coming off of it. That is crest, and this entire thing is called the float. And this is also part of the animal too. So these are, and they allow the float and crest, allow the animal. Okay, a single colony has both polyp and medusa stage. Okay, what are 5 differences between a hydra and the rest of Hydrozoa? I hope you come up with the answer. Think about it, and come up with the answers. Are you guys looking at the questions at the beginning? I hope you're not forgetting about them. Those are essay questions that you should be able to answer. Next class is class Scyphozoa. Sometimes some textbook they call them true jellyfish. This is the class of true jellyfish. Okay, so they're all marine. All of the species in this class are marine, unlike Hydrozoa. And Aurelia is the jellyfish we have in the lab. We have specimen of Aurelia. It's the name of genus. I underline it, right? Whatever that is name of a genus, I underline it for you guys so far. I didn't underline it to emphasize this is important, make sure you know this one. No, I underline it because it's the name of a genus. Yes, sir.
Sometimes you have it underlined and then next to it you have SP. Does that mean it's
Very good.
stuff? Or
What does that mean? It means I gave you name of genus and there are several species with that genus. But same as Aurelia. You know, all of the Obelia, Guinemus, all of them, I should put SP next to them. I just did. But one example that you would know is Trypanosoma. So a lot of people, when they write papers, they write on Trypanosoma SP. It means they're talking about Trypanosoma gambiense, rudensiense, brucei.
All the trypanosomes.
All of the Trypanosoma. Not necessarily Cruzii because it's 2 different locations, 2 different species. Most of large jellyfish, polyp absent or reduced. So they do not have polyp, that large jellyfish. You saw the video and you saw some huge polyp stages. No ordinary sessile. What am I saying? You remember what does that sentence means? No one ordinary sessile. You remember King Paul came over for good sex? So in this class, there are a few orders. One of the orders, all of the members of them are sessile. It means this is sedentary. There is a difference. I guess I didn't emphasize on sedentary and sessile here. Sedentary animals, it means animals like this, they do move, but they move slowly. A sessile animal is like a tree. It does not move at all. Sponges are pretty much sessile. So I'm saying in this class, there is one order that is sessile. And I did not give you the name. No velum. So when there is no velum, what happens?
It grows huge.
They can grow huge. They can grow huge. Okay, the one you saw in video in the lab, you saw on this DVD species, that was most likely belong to this class Scyphozoa. Okay.
Are they as poisonous too, or?
So yes, why not? Yes, the members of this class can be poisonous too.
Okay.
Yes, but I don't know. You can look it up. I don't think maybe some of them are deadly.
Yeah.
But remember, when we talk about venom of the animals, somebody lived with a bee sting.
Yeah.
You're looking at one. Was a child bee sting right here,
Uh-huh.
and some people die.
Right.
It depends on your immune system, how you respond to those venoms.
Okay.
So, again, you say, are they poisonous? Yes, they have. Of course, in this class, there are the jellyfishes in this class are poisonous. They have them. Sexes are separate, so they are dioecious. And gametes released to gastrovascular cavity. Fertilization is internal. I'm not too crazy about ciliated planula. Oh yes, you should know this. Sorry, but this one we do not have slide of it in the lab. We do not have slide of this in the lab. We have slide of planula, but it's obelia planula. It's not aurelia planula. But anyhow, we have slide of planula. They do look like. And then strobila, we have it in the lab. Phyra, we have it in the lab. And of course, Medusa 1 are in the containers, in the jars we have. So we have all of these in the lab except Scyphozoa. Okay, and I'll show you a picture of it. You know what these strobila look like. You know what these Scyphozoa look like. You know what these Phyra look like. Zygote on oral arms of Medusa or in the seawater. And example, Aurelia. Oh, in Aurelia, make sure you locate the following in the lab. Yeah, there are 5 parts I would like you to know. The oral arms, you have about 4 of them. Right here, these are called oral arms. You guys see that, the red? Then you call these, what else? Oral arms and oral tentacles, square mouth. Mouth is here. And the gonads, you will see them, they are inside of stomach. Okay, in the lab, and I'll show you some pictures where the gonads are. And then radial canal, right here. These canals, they're little canals right here. You will see them, little lines in here, in the lab, in the real specimen. They stain them for you guys. And then marginal tentacles. These are called marginal tentacles. These are the parts that you should know. Radial canal, marginal tentacles, oral arms, oral tentacles, square mouth, 4 gonads, which are inside the stomach. Let's look at the pictures. Here we go. Finally, pictures. A picture says that more than 1 million words in biology. In other fields, a picture says 1,000 words, but in biology, it says 1 million words. Right? Mm-hmm. So you have the planula larva. Let's start from here. You have it in the lab. They go find a rock on the bottom of the ocean. This is the slide. We do not have Scyphozoa. And then you have the early strobila. There are about 10 to 12 jellyfish in early strobila. So 1 jellyfish, 2 jellyfish, 3 jellyfish, 4 jellyfish. How many of them? 10 to 12 jellyfish are attached right here. And then what happens after these strobila become mature, all 12 of them are formed, then they are released from the strobila. Okay? And then this one, a phyra, we do have slide of this. If phyra become mature, become either male or female. And the male release the sperm, female release the egg, and of course the sperm comes travel and fertilize the egg inside of the animal. Do not worry, again, do not worry about all of these other structures. The only thing that I'm looking for was mouth, oral arms, marginal tentacles, radial canal is right here. Those are all called radial canal. Let's see. No, I do not have the picture of it. I thought I did. But in here, there are supposed to be 4. Oh, well, you have it. There are 4. There are 4 stomachs, and inside of the stomach, you have the gonads. Okay? You have the gonads. I hope I'm making some sense. I cannot tell. Maybe an expert can look at a jellyfish and can tell male from female. I can tell. So the specimen we have in the lab, I cannot tell which one is male, which one is female. I don't know if anybody can or not. Okay, next class Cubozoa. sea wasp, common name for them is sea wasp. We do not have them in the lab. We do not have any specimen of Cubozoa in the lab. Stinging dangerous to human. Polyp is small and no ephira. Metamorphosis directly to Medusa. And I gave you one species is Cryptia marsupialis. Cryptia marsupialis is one species that I gave you guys to know. Again, we do not have it. We do not have it in the lab. Here they are. What they call them Cubozoa. They, like, if you look at them from top or from bottom, they look like a cube. Okay, no structures in here. You should know. I don't expect you because we don't have it in the lab. Here they are. These are over the years. Students gave me some PowerPoints that they sting human. Not necessarily cube jellyfish. This is a cube jellyfish, but they can slash people. Look at this. All of this person legs has been devastated by a little boy. Evidently survived. Can stand up, but you don't know. Those are all the poisons inside. Who is eating who? You think jellyfish is eating crayfish or crayfish is eating the jellyfish?
Yes.
Huh? Yes, both of them are eating each other. Most likely, jellyfish is eating that crayfish. Who's going to win that battle?
Sea turtles.
Yeah, I think sea turtles. So they are feed of other animals. We'll talk about this.
But I have a question. So
Yes.
like they're not affected by the venom?
Again, I talked about it in the lab this morning. Yes, other animals, but again, depends on the animal and depends on the jellyfish they're going to eat.
Right.
So this turtle knows that this jellyfish is not going to sting him, so he's going and eating it.
Oh.
But from distance, if he gets stung once, you is not going to go near him.
Oh.
Okay, so that's. Sometimes they sting, they do sting, but it's not effective. Is that right? You know what I'm talking about? Like we get spider bite, we get mosquito bite.
Yeah.
We live. But we still grab them and eat them, right? The mosquito, spider.
Yeah.
Class Anthozoa, the last class, the common name for this species in here is called flower animals. Right here, look like flower to me. Okay, so class flower animal. They're all marine and longitudinal fission or pedal laceration. These are the two ways